When you think about businesses that are selling through the roof, like Aloe or Allbirds, sure, you think about a great product, a cool brand, and great marketing. But an often overlooked secret is actually the businesses behind the business, making selling, and for shoppers, buying, simple. For millions of businesses, that business is Shopify. Nobody does online business better than Shopify. It's home of Shop Pay, the #1 checkout in the world. You can use it to boost conversions up to 50%, meaning way less carts going abandoned and way more sales going through to checkout. Sign up for your $1 per month trial period at shopify.com/income, all lowercase. Go to shopify.com/income to upgrade your selling today. That's shopify.com/income.
Here at the Almond Joy Factory, where tropical vibes abound, we use soft, fresh-tasting coconut.
The crunchiest almonds and delicious chocolate candy.
Ah, but do you know what our most important ingredient is? Sometimes you feel like a nut.
Sometimes you don't.
Almond Joy's got nuts and something even way better than that. Yes, Almond Joy is made with almonds and joy.
This podcast contains adult themes and language, and some of the things that we discuss may be disturbing to some listeners. In this podcast, we discuss sexual assault, torture, race, and murder. Listener discretion is advised. Please take care of yourself.
Welcome to Fruitloops, Buiti Binafi, and Bienvenidos Bitches. Thank you so much for listening. Fruitloops is a true crime, history, and comedy podcast that delves into the often overlooked stories of serial killers of color and, more importantly, the victims. We take deep dives into the lives and crimes of these killers worldwide, while also examining the history, culture, and social factors that may have influenced their actions. And the reason that we cover these crimes is because they often go unnoticed by the public. And why is that? Because in the simplest of terms, the news is racist. Allegedly.
And we are Wendy and Beth. She's Wendy, a Black Latinx woman, and I'm Beth, and I just happen to be white. That's just a little piece of who we are. Another piece is that although we are both fascinated by true crime, really fascinated by true crime, and we know a lot about it, keep in mind that we are not journalists, investigators, or psychologists, and the opinions expressed in this podcast are just that, our opinions.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to a special episode of Fruitloops, Serial Killers of Color. I'm Wendy, that's Beth, and
Hello.
Together we host Fruitloops Serial Killers of Color, allegedly. And we have a very, very special guest today with us, the gorgeous, the talented, the tenacious, badass justice seeker, Madison McGhee. Welcome to the show, Miss Madison.
Yeah, welcome.
Thanks for having me. I can't roll my R's like that, but I wish I could.
It's okay. It's okay. Just going to give you a quick round of applause because we're so happy you're here.
I love that.
And Madison is originally from West Virginia, but now she's a big deal producer in Hollywood.
Well,
She's the host of the hit podcast Ice Cold Case about the investigation into the murder of her father, John Cornelius McGhee. She's an amazing storyteller and creator, and we're thrilled that she has joined us today to talk about her story, her podcast, and her upcoming tour. Madison, thank you so much for being here with us.
yeah, thanks for having me. I'm so excited.
Yes, we are. I mean, you're incredible. You already know that. So let's move on. Before we get to know you a little bit better, and our listeners, our fruities, we want them to get to know you better and hear more about Ice Cold Case and the tour and all the cool shit you got going on. I wanted to play a little quick warm-up game so we're not, super stiff or anything like that. we tend to be a musically inclined show. If a tune pops into one of our heads, we just have to belt it out. And so could you do us a favor and check your music playlist, like your Spotify or Apple, and pick a song that you really love or like it's a guilty pleasure.
Okay.
And tell us about it and why you love it.
Oh, man. This is funny. Okay. This is tough.
I figured, but I think it'll be a really give us great insight into Madison, the person.
Me. Yeah. No, you're right. It would. It really would. Okay, let's see. Oh, this is so hard.
I know.
Oh my gosh. And like the pressure's on. It feels like I'm like, this is like make or break. Like I've got to pick a good song.
It doesn't have to be.
Oh, you don't have to.
This is
It can be
about
some
you.
goofy
This is
song.
something that
Yeah.
you love that will tell us a little bit about you.
Okay. I guess the song I've been playing like on repeat a lot is, have you ever heard the song Purple Hat by Sophie Tucker?
No. Can you hit play? We'll cut this out.
It's so chaotic.
Okay.
It's so chaotic.
Oh, Song of the Summer.
It reminds me of Severance. Oh my God, that part.
Oh my God. This is really speaking to me. This is amazing.
It's a good song.
It is a good song. Are you kidding me? Where's my phone? Okay, I see you laughing. You got to tell us why you love it. Tell us why you
It's
love it,
just
why you've been
so
listening
fun.
to it
It's
so much.
such a fun song. Like it's like one of those songs you like play in the car and you're like, yeah. Like it's just such a good song. And like it's so chaotic. You have like no idea what they're talking about. And you're just like it's so inconsequential. Because I do love like a Taylor Swift, Gracie Abrams, like the little like
Who
very
doesn't?
heartfelt. This is what's happening in my life. And then this is like, what is going on? This means nothing. And I love that.
Yeah, I
It's
get
such
that.
a good mix. But yeah, I'm like loving that song. It's like I learned it. I think I first found out about it at like a spin class. Because it's got that like, it's good for a spin class.
Yeah, it is.
And then I was like, oh, I love this song. And now it's on every playlist. If I have like any party, event, anything, like it's on there. It's on there.
This is an incredible song. It will be on my summer playlist. So
It's
thank
so good.
you.
Of course.
Purple Hat by Sophie Tucker.
Yes.
Wow.
Purple
Hip-hop air
Hat.
horns.
Okay.
Yeah, we
Yes.
love it. We love it. Well, thank you for turning us on to
Yes.
new music.
Of course.
So where are you coming to us from today and how are you doing?
I'm good. I'm in LA. I am like never here. It's been so nice. I've had like a week. I've been here. I leave again on Tuesday. But I'm good. I love being home. I love being home, like physically in my apartment, not just in LA. I love LA, but I love being like on my couch, like rotting.
Sleeping in your own bed.
So it's
Yeah.
been so nice.
Yeah.
And I'm good. And this is so random. But
Yeah.
you're going to get inside scoop. I
Okay.
guess.
Okay. Ooh, tea.
I have a boyfriend.
Ooh.
Okay, hang on. Where are the air horns? We love it. We love it. We love. Congratulations.
Thank you. So I'm really excited about it.
Yeah. Being in love. That's wonderful. And is this a podcaster, creator?
He's a comedian.
Ooh, even better. Is he a comedian?
Do as
We all
I
know.
say, not as I do. Do not date comedians. But yeah, he's a comedian.
Ooh, is he one that the world knows?
He's like up and coming. He's got like, he was on a late night show, did a set like several years ago. He is on a Netflix special, like as part of a thing with another bigger comedian. He's been on like Comedy Central. He has a Don't Tell taping. He like headlines around the country. I think he's great.
Yes.
Otherwise, you wouldn't be dating him,
I
right?
know. Well, I don't want to pry too much, but I can say that it's so obvious when you like say, I have a boyfriend. You are like radiating joy. So whatever this situation is, I love it for you. And
Thank
I
you.
hope it stays this joyful for as long as possible. Congratulations. That's
Thank
super
you.
exciting.
Yeah.
So I guess we better move it along so you can go spend time with your boo.
Oh, he's on the road. He's not even in town.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
Then.
It's kind of nice. I need that balance because I've got a lot of stuff to do, obviously, as we'll discuss.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's kind of a good, I was always so worried I needed to be single because I needed to be by myself because I need to work a lot. And it's kind of a nice balance. So yeah, he's not even here.
Fantastic. Well, good for you. Good for you. He's like fits into your life in the right way right now. So you can keep doing amazing, incredible things like being an amazing storyteller, which leads us to your podcast. Season 2 of Ice Cold Case just dropped. Beth and I were talking about the episode that dropped this week on April 9th. And
So good.
wow. So I guess that you've got this podcast. It's on season 2. We understand your father, J.C. McGhee, was murdered in 2002. But when you first learned about his death, you were told it was a heart attack. And you didn't learn until you were age 16 that it was actually a murder. And so now you're not 16 anymore, and you have 2 seasons under your belt. So what sparked this podcast for you between now and when you first learned the truth?
Yeah, so when I was 16, I found out, and it was like so jarring because you deal with my family was lying to me and like all of that stuff. But then you're also like this unresolved feeling. And also I don't know what happened. So like I'm mad at my family for not telling me, but I'm also mad that this is unsolved.
Yeah.
So sort of grappling with that. It took me a while before I really like dove into the meat of it. But so that was 2012. I'd say like 2019, I was sort of like, this feels weird. What's going on? I want to do something. And then really in 2020 is when I like dove in. So it was like 8 years almost of knowing, but not really doing much, just very loosely like finding family members on Facebook and random things like that, but not really doing a whole lot. Mm-hmm. And then it really took like a 180. I went from kind of being like very casual about it to it becoming like this full time. I'm looking into this all the time. I can't stop thinking about it. I'm making phone calls. I'm looking at case files. I'm reading stuff. I'm doing all this stuff all the time. And now it's sort of like all consuming in a way.
So you found yourself digging and digging and you just couldn't stop. Is that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. There was just so much, not that anything is less important or interesting, but I really kind of thought I would dive into this, read a couple things and go, oh, like open shut. This is it. And the more you dive into this and my dad's life and the intricacies of his story, it was so complex. It was like, how could I not keep looking into this? Mm-hmm. It's just so bizarre.
Yeah. So where did you go first? What family members did you reach out to first?
So I reached out to my aunt, one of my aunts, because we had our previous relationship and she was sort of the only one that I ever really knew of and had her phone number. So I was like, well, that's easy. I don't have to.
And is this your dad's sister or your mom's sister?
My dad's sister.
Okay.
And so I reached out to her first, and she was sort of like not really involved in that day. So she was more willing to kind of give me info. So I talked to her. I reached out to the police because they obviously have this case file and they've got, all this info.
Yeah, we'll talk. We'll get into them later.
So reach out to them. I think I reached out to them first.
Okay.
Then I reached out to my aunt. Mm-hmm. And then I reached out to the prosecutors, I think in that order. Okay. And then when I met with them, I spoke to them in that order also.
Were you interviewing them during these initial conversations? Like, were you like, I got to have my phone handy or my Zoom recorder?
So the first call I made to the police department, I didn't record it because I really had no idea. Like, I was just like, I'm just calling to get some case files. Like, I don't know. Mm-hmm. And so I called, and then it's so crazy. The detective who was on the scene at my dad's house that day is the guy who answered the phone.
Oh, wow.
Because it was a holiday. It was Memorial Day of 2020, which is also the same day that George Floyd was murdered.
Right.
Whoa.
I called like a few hours before he was murdered. Like, I didn't know, obviously, that was going to happen.
Yeah.
I called to get the case files. So I called, and because it was a holiday, whoever works the front desk, like, had the day off. So the officers were just like taking turns manning the desk, and that guy happened to be the guy who answered. So it was very weird.
That's wild.
I know.
So wild.
That's a sign.
And
the universe is telling
it made
you.
me feel like, oh, this is great. Like, this is meant to be. He seemed like, he was like, oh, yeah, I remember that. Like, I was there. And I was like, okay, great. Like, I need the case files. He's like, great. We just submit a request and whatever. He's like, it takes a couple weeks. I was like, okay, God, awesome. Sounds good. I didn't get the case files for a while. And so I did not end up talking to my aunt until, so about a year later, I talked to the police in person. And then I went to my aunt's house. We talked. And then I went to the prosecutor's office the next day and we talked in person.
Yeah.
What does every USAA member have in common? Family. We're one big family who supports the military community and their eligible families. And if you, your parent, or spouse served, you could join our family and save big on auto insurance. Visit USAA.com/join today to check your eligibility. Membership eligibility and product restrictions apply and are subject to change. USAA means United Services Automobile Association and its affiliates, San Antonio, Texas.
Hilton brings you new ways to stay, with experiences that let you capture the glory days. Introducing the Graduate Hotels. Each inspired by local college towns, these stays are always original and never boring. Get in touch with traditions all across the country and enjoy a stay that's a class above the rest. Book at Graduate Hotels with Hilton Honors Points at Hilton.com. It's a win-win. Hilton, for the stay.
So it took about a year to like actually sit down with them and do like a proper interview. But I did call them initially to get the stuff. And that's the guy I talked to, is the same detective that answered the phone.
Is that the one who was slapping the table like, I really want to solve this? Is that him?
That's him.
Okay, because I feel like when people get that dramatic, that tells you that they're not really doing what they're slamming their hand on the table about.
Yeah.
So I really wanted to ask you about that moment because that seemed wild to me. So
if I could summarize Belmont County Sheriff's Department, they're letting the inmates run the asylum.
Oh
like
my
they
God.
should they're all criminals and they should all be.
Wow.
Like it's insane. But yes, he was hitting the table. It's a clown show in there.
Wow.
Yeah.
So, my impression is that there is a lot of corruption in is it Beaumont or Beaumont County? Belmont County.
Yes.
Police Department. But I also know that we met you at CrimeCon UK, and there were some law enforcement officers there who were like, we're going to help you. So have there been other law enforcement agencies who've usurped the county police in the venue where the murder happened who are helping you?
Yeah, so it's so complex. A lot of people assume that you can just like enlist the FBI if, a case isn't getting solved at a more local level.
No.
No.
I hate it here.
Yeah. I'm actually, this is great because my next episode is about this. I interviewed a former FBI investigator who is incredibly decorated in his career. He worked in like a smaller in Sacramento. He went to New York. He was in counterterrorism.
Wait,
then he worked
did
with
you talk to Mike
informants.
from the FBI at CrimeCon? Mike?
No, his name's Paul.
Oh, okay. Just checking.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so he has done so much stuff, and he had like almost like 30 years with the FBI. So he worked in a bunch of different things. He worked with confidential informants, which obviously plays well into my dad's case.
Right.
So I got a lot of his thoughts. And yeah, he explains it really well, where he's like, think about it like this. There are less than 40,000 FBI agents in the whole world.
Okay.
In New York City, there's like 180,000 NYPD officers. So imagine like 40,000 for the world. It's so impossible to be like, okay, you're getting assigned to this cold case because they just don't have enough people.
Right.
And so he was basically like, it takes something like it has to be a really big thing, a really important issue for them to jump in and do it. Of course, then You have to listen to the episode. But I counter that with, well, what defines important? Like a white girl going missing? Mm-hmm. So, that's an issue in and of itself. But I do understand the sort of idea of like the resourcing issue. The other option is to go to like the state police. So I'm working with a county sheriff's department. So I could go to the Ohio State Police and say, hey, could you take over the case? Mm-hmm. And that's like an avenue to explore. However, Ohio is notoriously bad when it comes to homicides and investigations. And, I would say equivalent to like a Texas. Like if you're going to kill someone, like go to Texas or go to Ohio.
Wow.
And so it's just really tough to get them activated. It's, you run into the similar hurdles of like, I've got to make a case for why this is important, which seems so silly.
Yeah.
There is, I'm sort of giving away my episode, but it's great. There's this
By
website.
the time this airs, it'll all be out.
Yeah. Don't worry about it. Mm-hmm.
There's this website where you can go, and Ohio has set it up. It's like the BCI, Bureau of Criminal Investigations, and you can search unsolved cases. And you can like submit tips on this website and whatever. And it's mostly like local police departments will submit their cold cases on there so that they get these tips. Sometimes it's family, but mostly the police departments will be like, we've got this cold case. We need to.
Oh, my internet just cut out. No, it didn't. Please say no.
Uh-oh. Well, shoot. Oop, she left. She might be coming back in.
Yeah, perfect.
Yeah, give her a minute.
So sorry, y'all.
Oh, that's okay.
I think we're good.
Great. So we got into the police
oh, yes. Okay.
fuckery of it all.
I can pick up.
Police fuckery. Tell us about that.
So there's this website on the BCI for Ohio, mostly for police departments to submit their cold cases to like gather tips, resources, whatever. I discovered that when I looked up Belmont County specific cases through this, it's a statewide resource. There's like 2,000 plus cases submitted on this website. Belmont County has only one case on there from like 1980 something.
Stop it.
Yeah. And they have at least 30 unsolved murders from their county. So they haven't submitted them to this resource that's just publicly available to them, free for them, that's supposed to gather tips and information. And that's something that's like such a simple thing to do. And I think that just speaks volumes to like the level of care and consideration they have for unsolved cases.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, the new episode is titled Bad Cops, Bad Neighbors.
Ooh, okay. So I'm going to shift a little bit to the main focus of your show, which is your dad. So can you tell us about your dad and what you remember about him, what your relationship was like about him, and just his life?
Yeah, so he was super interesting, a really dynamic guy.
Uh-huh. And your dad is a black man.
Yes.
Is that what we should say? I feel
yes,
like.
My dad is black. He dropped out of school when he was in 8th grade. He got into like drug dealing pretty early, sort of as a means of survival, but also it was just sort of like what was around. Like that was the job that like everyone was doing. He had his first kid. So my oldest siblings, my dad had when he was like 16. And so they are old now. And yeah, he was like such a ladies' man. I mean, he had those kids early and then he waited a little bit and then he had 2 more with another woman. So I have another brother and sister who share a mom. Mm-hmm. And then he waited a little bit more. And then he had my older sister, Alyssa, who's in the show and plays kind of a big part in this. And then he had me with my mom. Mm-hmm. And then I'm the only one with my mom. And then I have a younger brother, Shane, who's also sort of a part in this story. Mm-hmm. So Shane is, oh gosh, he's probably 23, 24 now. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I guess he'd be 24 this year. That's crazy. So
it's hard to remember. As you get older, it's hard to remember how old people are.
Yeah, I know. It's so crazy. When I've never even met Shane before. So it's very weird.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's the only sibling I've ever met in person is Alyssa because I like grew up with her.
Sure.
So like my dad had Alyssa, full custody of Alyssa, and then I was like there most like a lot of the time. Like my mom mostly had me, but like we would always be with my dad and drive up and see him, stay with him. He would come down. Mm-hmm. So I had like a pretty decent relationship with him for someone who came from sort of like a broken home. I was still like with both of my parents quite a bit. And so like I remember some things. I was so young. The Nelly Hot in Here album came out like 2 months before my dad was killed. And he played that so much that like I still know every word to every song.
Wow.
He liked that kind of stuff. I mean, he was like driving around in like a Cadillac and like, I mean, he was like your typical, like, I used to be a drug dealer and I'm not that sorry about it kind of guy, you know? Like he was like very vocal with his things that, you know, he was involved in this world. So he's just like a funny personality, super musically inclined. My whole family was super close. So he was like a family guy, but like they all kind of were. I mean, everyone in my family was like really ride or die family. I would say it's like your very traditional, like neighborhood Black family where like my dad lived next to my dad's sister and then their brother lived down the street from them and they all live like on this street and like they all hang out all the time. It was like a very quintessential like early 2000s like Black family in Ohio.
Nice.
So yeah, that was kind of his life and what he was up to. He had a job in a factory and then he got injured and got workers' comp. So then he just was a drug dealer informant for the rest of his life.
Wait, how did he become an informant?
He was involved he owned a bar. So when he got this big settlement for getting injured in the factory, which my mom likes to think was all orchestrated.
Okay.
But whatever. He like watched, I guess, how the machines worked where he could get injured and not get fatally injured. And then he got hurt at work and then he got money. Whatever.
Wow.
Listen.
Interesting
we love
theory,
an
Mom.
entrepreneur.
Yes.
So he used that money. He bought some stuff. He bought like an apartment building and he bought this bar. And in the bar, my cousin, allegedly, I guess. I mean, he was convicted, but he still says he didn't do this. But my cousin was selling drugs out of the bar on the bottom level. And then on the top, there were sex workers. So this was like a money-making machine. And it was on the Wheeling, West Virginia side. So the problem with this area, which is very similar to like a New York City, a Chicago, when you're dealing drugs out of these areas, you're crossing state lines because you're so close to a state border. If you're in LA, anything you do that's even similar to what you're doing in Chicago, Wheeling, West Virginia, New York, it's not a felony because you're not crossing state lines. So they target these areas because they're able to get people with like more severe drug crimes because they're felonies. So
this is illuminating.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And with this, I mean, you're crossing, if you live where my dad lived in Ohio, Bridgeport, Ohio, you could drive in 45 minutes and cross over West Virginia and Pennsylvania.
Wow.
So you could really distribute to like a really wide area.
Wild.
Yeah.
And so it was a gateway between like Columbus and Pittsburgh, this little town.
Okay.
So my dad owned this bar. They were selling drugs out of it. Apparently the feds had been watching them for a long time. They were really trying to get them. They came to my dad and they were like, look, we're Rico, my cousin, we're getting him for life in prison. Like he's getting a RICO act. And if you testify against him, you don't go to jail. So that was the beginning of my dad kind of snitching. There were 75 people on that indictment. So a lot of people testified against RICO, but you know, my dad was one of them. And my dad was family. And that is probably the difference maker between all these other people and my dad.
That makes sense, yeah.
It's almost Mother's Day, and you can now get anything you need delivered with Uber Eats. Well, almost anything. So no, you can't order a relaxing shower, but some beautiful flowers, you bet we deliver those. A bird bath? No. A bath bomb? Absolutely. It's no to a chocolate lab, but yes to some chocolate truffles. So whether it's a last-minute gift for Mother's Day, fresh groceries, or food from your favorite restaurants, get it delivered today with Uber Eats. Order now. Product availability varies by region. See app for details.
My cat Freddie loves to be brushed and cuddled. But stirring up his cat allergens meant sneezing and itchy eyes. Then I found Purina One Live Clear, It's cat food that reduced the major allergen and my suffering in as little as 21 days. Now, we feel closer than ever. If you have issues with cat allergens, you really need to try Purina One Live Clear.
Try new Purina One Live Clear today. Purina One, a difference from day one.
So that's how he got started. And then he sort of had this reputation as being a snitch. But then the police on the Belmont County side really used that to their advantage and knew that my dad was sort of on the outs. He wasn't going to make a ton of money being a drug dealer anymore because they sort of knew. So they cut this weird deal. And my dad was sort of like ratting out people to them as sort of a means of self-preservation. So that's how he got into that.
Okay.
Yeah. And I think there was a level, my dad was he struggled with depression, anxiety, paranoia. And I think there was this element of like, I don't know if I should be doing this, but I also think he didn't have any other choice.
Yeah.
I mean, there were some cryptic things he would say to my mom, like, oh, like someone's going to kill me. I think someone's going to kill me.
He was kind of between a rock and a hard place.
Yeah. I mean, my mom took out a life insurance policy for myself, my sister. And I don't know if Shane was included in that because my mom wasn't as close with Shane. I mean, he was a baby. But for me and my sister, because she was like, your dad just kept saying he was going to get killed. And it was so weird.
Yeah.
And we were worried that like, I mean, my dad had a lot of stuff, but like he owed money on a lot of stuff. And like my family kind of got involved. So like, honestly, thank God for, I mean, the very small life insurance policies, like that paid for a lot of me to go to college.
Oh, wow.
Like that helped Alyssa out. Obviously she was 16 when this happened. So like that got her, because I didn't get the money till I turned 18. So that helped Alyssa kind of like rebuild her life.
Sure.
But yeah, I mean, my mom even doing that. My mom's not really a paranoid person, maybe a little bit, but not a lot. So for her to do that and knowing her now, I'm like, oh, my dad must have said that in a way that was like very jarring.
Caused her to act.
Because my mom's kind of like, even if I'm like, I have a headache, my mom's like, you're fine. I'm like, okay.
She moved enough. She had to call the insurance man, fill out paperwork. And
like back in like, 2002, that's not as simple as like filling out a form online. I mean, she probably had to like gather a bunch of stuff and like do a bunch of things to like do that. And I mean, I think at that point you pay into life insurance policies every month. So whether, I don't even know if like my dad knew and like was paying into it or if my mom was paying for it. Like, I don't know what was going on with that, but yeah, I mean, you have to pay for those. So the fact that she did that is very weird. But my dad, she was like, yeah, he just like kept driving around and like being like, oh, that property's going to go to Alyssa. That property's going to go to Madison. And it's like, that's such a weird paranoid thing to be like, making sure your ducks are in a row. I don't know. It just seems very scary.
Yeah.
And I think he knew that he was involved in a type of work that like could potentially get him killed.
So let's talk about, you mentioned, something that like law enforcement decides what's important, what they're going to investigate. And you've talked about your dad not being like the perfect victim and how that has contributed to this sort of being a cold case and the other roadblocks to getting to the bottom of it. Can you sort of speak to, I guess, I'm sure there's a laundry list of things that have come in your way as you're trying to, seek justice for your dad's murder, but what are the challenges? I'm sure there are hours and hours that we could discuss about it, but just curious about what have you run into? In addition to the fact that your dad is not the perfect victim, right? He was a Black man. He was involved in, survival crime is what we would call it.
Yeah.
So tell us about your challenges and struggles in making this great show.
Yeah, I mean, I think the biggest thing was the fact that no one cared, and that alone sort of starts this like slew of challenges. So even on very obscure websites, you can kind of find some blogger somewhere has been like, oh, here's some cold cases that nobody's talking about that are like really weird or interesting. Or you can find like digitized obituaries or digitized articles or something like that. When you looked up my dad before 2023, you couldn't find anything about him.
Not even an obituary?
Nothing. Everything was like physical. So I had to go to the Ohio County Public Library in West Virginia and phish, PHISH, through floppy disks.
Oh,
to
microfiche.
Yeah.
No 20-year-old should ever have to do that. Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, no.
Yeah. I had to like go back to 2002. Okay, let's start in July. Let's start July 10th and like go through. And then, okay, well, would there have been a follow-up article? Well, when would that have been? Anytime between 2002 and 2023? Okay. And I sat there for hours and hours and hours. And then I would find it, and then I'd have to select the area, and it would print a copy. And, you know, that was a huge information hurdle. If you want to look into something and you don't have the physical means to get, I mean, I lived in Portland, Oregon at the time. I drove 41 hours in the middle of COVID to get to this library to do this.
Wow.
If you don't have the means or the time, you know, I got lucky. I mean, lucky that COVID happened and nobody was doing anything. But like right now, I wouldn't have the time to be able to like go out and do that if I'm, you know, working and doing stuff.
Yeah. But the universe made it possible.
The universe made it possible. But yeah, that was a huge hurdle is finding that information and then getting access to the case files. The police are very weird about what they let go of and what they share, and nothing's public if a case isn't closed. And so you have to really ask and ask nicely and play nice. And if you criticize, then you put yourself in a weird position because then they might not cooperate with you. And why should my criticism decide whether or not my dad's case gets investigated? So there's this whole, there's so many things. But I think access to information is sort of the overarching that includes like all of these things, right? It's like there's no access to information, and that makes it really difficult.
Yeah.
Because stuff's not digitized, stuff's not public, stuff's not being willing to be shared. And so when you run into that, then you are left sort of putting together a puzzle with like half the box, and that becomes really tough because it's like, okay, well, tell me what this picture is. And you're like, well, I don't know. I don't have, 500 of the 1,000 pieces.
Right.
But I guess I'll try. And then you kind of guess, okay, is it this? And if it's not, now that I'm making this show, a lot of people are like, oh, well, you got it wrong. And it's like, well, yeah, I mean, I only have so many pieces. Yeah. So I'm like, I got to guess. And
also,
if I'm wrong,
what
then
are
I
you
keep
doing?
guessing.
I don't see you driving 40 hours to, go microfiche fishing.
40 hours one way. So then I had to drive back.
Oh, no. Wow. Madison, that is incredible. Your
dedication.
We called you, tenacious, and this is for reals, like a fight for justice, and you're fighting in every way.
Becomes so much bigger now because, I'm frustrated with my dad's stuff, obviously, and I still want to solve it, and I'm still working very hard to do that. But as you were kind of starting to hear in the episodes, I've spent a lot of time with what I would consider real journalists in the last year. This has become such a bigger thing that people should be talking about. Like, your police departments are not working for you. If that was you that was murdered, you would want it to be solved for your family or whomever. And this is such a bigger systemic issue that
we agree.
Yes, has to do with race, but also just supersedes that. I mean, there are white women who are getting killed.
It's about power and, people who are in power not wanting to lose that at all costs, which hurts all of us.
I mean, I think about Karen Reed. I mean, Karen Reed is my hero.
Yeah.
Because if she wins, she's the perfect face for police just picking random people and trying to ruin their lives.
Deciding,
because if it's my dad,
decisions.
My dad's not going to be the face for this, right? I mean, I would love that, but he's going to be the beneficiary of someone like Karen going, we need to look at this.
Yeah.
So I'm like, go Karen, go. Because everyone's rallying around her because she looks like someone that you want to care about.
Yeah.
So thank God for her. But that's a prime example of police just being like, almost, it's like hiding in plain sight. They're actively being like, look at how much power we have.
Yeah.
Look what we are capable of doing.
Yeah.
And it's scary when you really dissect how much authority and how above the law they are.
It's insane. It should give us all chills down our spines.
We should be terrified. If this can happen to a Karen Reed, a well-educated white woman who has financial means, it can happen to literally anyone.
Yeah. From Karen Reed to, I want to say your dad as well. I think the corruption is very vast, very broad, very deep, and has been going on for a very long time. My vote is to abolish all of the police. But, you know, Beth doesn't agree. And I think there are also a lot of other people who don't agree with me. But I guess you've got a lot of challenges and you're still going. What keeps you going? And do you think this, I mean, I heard in one of the episodes, I think the police said they know who did this. They just don't have enough evidence. So will it be solved? And how do you keep going to solve it?
Yeah, I mean, I'm definitely going to keep going. I feel like I have a lot of like motivation from a lot of different places, and the motivation changes kind of all the time. Mm-hmm. You know, sometimes I'll have like really in-depth conversations with my sister, and that's like, okay, I've got to keep doing this for my sister. And sometimes it's just like my own sort of internal compass that's like, you have to keep going. And when episodes are coming out, it's like, oh, I got to do it for my listeners. So the motivation comes from kind of like all over wherever I can pull it from. I'm like, I'll take what I can get today and like use that to kind of fuel me. Mm-hmm. I don't care if I'm putting like vegetable oil in my car or gas from Costco. Like, it's going to get the car going. So I'll take it. Mm-hmm. I do think it can be solved in the sense that I think I'll know who did it. I might even get a confession. Who knows? Do I think that the police are going to do anything about it? I think, honestly, this is so crazy. I think that's up to my listeners. Because if this case doesn't get enough publicity and this case isn't hitting #1 on the Apple charts and isn't on Good Morning America, I could get someone on film right now being like, yeah, I killed your dad. And I don't think anyone's going to do anything about it.
Wow.
But unless it's like a Karen Reed or a Gabby Petito or a John Benet Ramsey level of publicity, the police can be like, well, we didn't know that, or we don't know. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
so it's
they
like,
can write you off just because.
Everyone has to be like, it's got to be on whatever, all the little TikToks, all the little things, and everyone has to be talking about it for them to be like, oh, shit, we got to do something about this. Which is a horrible way to run a police department, but...
Yeah. Right? But that oftentimes, that's how it works
like,
in this country.
Yeah, and knowing that is kind of like, okay, well, now I know what the challenge is. Now I know what I need to do, which is kind of nice. It's like, it's annoying and stupid, and I shouldn't have to be playing the game, but at least I know the rules.
Yeah.
So I'm like operating on a level of this. To me, my podcast, everything I'm doing is I'm basically just running a marketing campaign for my dad's case. And so that's why I made the podcast. That's why I did all of this. That's why I do interviews. That's why I throw parties. That's why I go on tour. That's why I do all of this stuff, because it's like, if I become almost like a pseudo celebrity, you cannot ignore my dad's case.
No,
like, it will be impossible for you to do it.
Yeah.
And so that's my goal. I'm like, you will see me everywhere.
Okay.
And then you'll be like, oh, well, now we gotta do something about this.
Now we gotta look into this.
Switch to Verizon Business and get more from your internet without paying more for your internet. Get LTE Business Internet starting at $39 a month when paired with select business mobile plans. That's unlimited data, and with it, unlimited possibilities. Start saving today with Verizon Business, ranked #1 in small business internet customer satisfaction by J.D. Power. Starting price for 25 megabits per second LTE internet plan with smartphone plan savings, plus taxes, fees, and economic adjustment charge. Terms apply. For J.D. Power 2024 award information, visit jdpower.com/awards.
I didn't write this question down, but I know you had a good relationship with your dad. Do you feel like he is guiding you or speaking to you in any way on this journey?
Yeah. I'm not like religious or anything, but I am like a universe person. I do feel like my dad has been a crucial part of this, even just in like a self-discovery sense. I don't know, like when you meet a friend's parents and you go, oh, they make so much more sense to me. It feels like I've done that with myself. Like, I'm learning about my dad through his friends and through people who knew him and through my mom, my grandma, and like all these people who knew him better than I did, my sister. And it's like, oh, weird, I do that. Or, oh, I have that. Like, I have a lot of depression and anxiety, and like my mom doesn't. So like, oh, maybe that's where I get that from. And so it's like all these like things and characteristics about me that it's almost like I'm learning about myself. And that's been a really fun process of like, it feels like I'm getting closer to my dad in this weird way because I'm like learning about who he was and how that impacted me, even if I wasn't around him.
Yeah.
Kind of like there's the 3 Identical Strangers. It's an incredible documentary.
Oh,
about
the triplets. The identical
triplets were separated. And how they, even though they didn't grow up near each other, they like smoked the same cigarettes and they like crossed their legs the same way.
Yeah, that's wild.
Yeah.
And it's so interesting. And it feels a little bit like that with my dad, where as I'm learning about him, it's like, wow, we are getting really close to each other.
Yeah.
And that's really fun.
Oh my God, that's so beautiful. I just want to like grab what you just said and hug it. Like that was incredible. So season 2 of Ice Cold Case dropped earlier this week, and you're also doing something else really exciting. You're going on tour with our pals Al and Fran of Affirmative Murder. So tell us about the tour. When does it start? It's called Family Matters Tour, right? Like the hit show from Black TV's heyday.
Yes.
Family Matters. So tell us more about it.
Yeah, the focus is like fun family, like get together, cookout style.
Yes.
So we're just going to be like kicking it, talking about, you know, different lore stories from whatever city we're in.
Love it.
So it'll be really fun. Just like a way to like get together for like our audiences also to meet each other and have a place to go. I feel like people got into podcasting because it was so digital and virtual and easy. And that's the thing I hate about it. I love an in-person. I love an in-person hang. Like, I love it. I love being like with people. I love spending time with people. I love connecting with people. And so it's fun to sort of take this like virtual world that's been built and bring it into a space where people can like get together.
Hell yeah.
And so that's exciting. And you know, we're coming to these cities, so hopefully people will travel, I'm sure, for some shows. But hopefully it's like, I live here and you live here. Like, we should hang out. We both like the same thing. So it's like, I'm excited to like get people together.
I love it.
But yeah, we kick it off in May. May 16th is our first show in Portland, Oregon.
Okay.
And we're going all over. I mean, we're going like Portland, LA, Chicago, Minneapolis, Baltimore, my hometown, Charleston, West Virginia, Columbus.
Nice.
Some cities in Texas. We're going to Nashville. We're going all over.
Woo!
New York, Philly. So it's going to be really awesome. I'm really excited. I love Alvin and Fran. And
yes, we do too. Friends of the show. We started our shows around the same time. And, you know, our subject matter is kind of similar. We weren't talking about straight white dudes and true crime. So we are huge fans of theirs. So how did you link up with them?
So I met them at CrimeCon.
Whoa!
Yeah, so crazy. In 2023, I went to my very first CrimeCon. I had never even heard of it or ever
Which
been.
one was that one?
This was Orlando.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
We were
there too. Yeah.
Yeah. So I went and I mean, I was like, I had no idea what to expect. I mean, no idea at all. I brought 50 tote bags and I remember going, I hope I don't go home with any. Like, I hope I get rid of them all. Gone within the first 5 minutes. I mean, it was like so crazy.
Well, your show's amazing, so you should not have been surprised.
It was so crazy. I ended up I ordered like 500 more to be like made that day.
Whoa.
Because I was like, I was just giving them away. So I was like, I need more bags. And so I ordered them, and this guy at like a local shop was like, I can get them to you like in 3 hours. Like, I'll bring them.
Holy cow.
Nice.
It was so crazy.
Wow.
And they said, did you kill my dad on them? And it was so funny. But Alvin and Fran were at the table next to me. So we just started talking and I was like, I'm nervous. It's my first time. I've never done this. And they were like, oh, we've been here. Like, we know what's going on. We'll help you.
Veterans.
They were so nice.
Yeah.
And that's how we met. And while we were there, we were like, we got to do something together. Like, we got to do something. And so we were like, let's do a live show together. So I flew to Baltimore, which is where they're from, in January of 2024.
Okay.
And we did a little live show. I think the theme was like cults, and we all talked about a different cult. And it was so fun. There was like a massive snowstorm that day. It was amazing. It was like everything was so funny. And we had the best time, and we were like, let's do this again. And Alvin was like, yeah, I really want to do this again. But one thing. My girlfriend's pregnant. So, like, we can't probably do a bunch of these, but, like, we could do another one.
Yeah.
So we did another one, and then we were like, we got to take this on the road. Like, this is so fun, and this is amazing. And so Alyssa had her baby. Now they've had some time to like get acclimated to their new life. And so now we're finally ready to do it. And so that's kind of how we met and how it started. And it's going to be so fun. We've been like doing a lot of prepping and kind of scheming what we're like going to talk about, what's going to happen there. But it's going to be really fun. And I'm really excited to like, I mean, my show is so serious and their show's a little bit lighter. And I feel like their audience really gets to know them like at the beginning of their episodes. Like, you know, they know if Fran prefers Pepsi or Coke and what he's been up to as a mailman. And so I'm excited for the opportunity to kind of have that moment too with people, to be like a little less scripted and a little more like personality.
Get to see behind the curtain, Madison.
Yeah.
Let your hair down and all the things. Well, where can people find tickets? And we'll put this in the description box of the show.
So you can go to madison-mcghee.com and like all the cities are listed and all the ticket links are there. And it's going to be fun.
Okay, the Family Matters Tour. This is exciting. I can't wait. I'm going to go check and see if are you guys coming to North Carolina?
No.
That's okay.
Phoenix?
You going to Phoenix?
Are you coming to Phoenix?
No. You know what? I really wanted to go to Phoenix, but we are thinking, here's what I'll say.
Do another tour. Do another round. And come to us.
If people buy tickets to this one and we are able to sell, you know, like 95% out for these shows, we will do more cities for sure.
Fuck yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
So like I'm thinking
Fruities?
like I'm thinking like I want to do Phoenix, I want to do Salt Lake City. Ooh. I'd love to do like a Charlotte, North Carolina.
Yeah.
We aren't going to Florida at all this time.
Okay.
We're not going to Atlanta. Like there's so many places we could be going. Boston, we're not going to. So there's so many places we could do.
For sure.
But we have to sell these or else we can't do another one.
Well, the Fruities are on it. The Fruities, we've got Fruities in all those cities, and I know that they will be going to madison-mcghee.com to check out tickets for the Family Matters Tour. And they are also Fruities. I know that you will be doing this, going to your personal devices right now and subscribing to Ice Cold Case Season 2. Am I right? Okay,
Please.
Great. All right, well, this has been incredible, Madison. We can't thank you enough for being here with us. You know, again, famous Hollywood producer here. So she could have been anywhere in the world, but she decided to spend her Sunday afternoon with us. We're so grateful. We love you. We love your show. We love the story. And we're just grateful that you came on our platform so that we could help.
Super excited for you for this tour.
Yeah. I for real am like proud of you. I think I said this to you one time. Like, I don't know what it is, but I just feel I'm looking at you and I'm just like so proud of you. And I cannot wait to see what other heights you ascend to. You are a remarkable young woman. And so I'm just really, really grateful that you graced us with your presence and marvelousness. So, Madison, where can the people find you and follow you on all the socials, etc.?
Yeah, I'm at Madison_McGhee on everything. And then Ice Cold Case on most things. I'm on that man's app at Ice Cold Case Pod.
Girl.
But all the other apps, I'm Ice Cold Case.
We left it, but
I'm not even like, I don't even use it, but sometimes people are like, oh, I didn't know you had a Twitter. And I'm like, oh, I do have a Twitter, actually. I just don't remember the name.
Yeah, and we're going to keep calling it Twitter until we are in the
It's Twitter.
10 toes down on that one.
It's Twitter. I'm like, try changing the name to Instagram, like you over my dead body.
Yeah,
right. I'm open to evolving and changing, but there's some things that I'm like, back in my day,
not.
we called it Twitter.
Listen, you whippersnappers.
Yeah.
Well, again, we cannot thank you enough for being here with us. We appreciate it. And for those of you listening, thank you for being here with us. We hope you come back next time. And until next time, look alive, y'all. It's crazy out there. Oh, man, it is.
All right.
Yeah, it is. All right, Beth, where can the people find us?
Our website is fruitloopspod.com, and we use Fruit Loops Pod for all of our social media. The footnotes for each episode can be found on our website. Plus, check it out for the different ways that you can support the show. You can also join us on Patreon, where we have hundreds of hours of bonus content. You can also support us by supporting our sponsors, or by giving us a 5-star review.
5 stars only, please.
Don't forget to subscribe.
That's right. Now, this is a weekly podcast, and episodes drop on Thursdays. So until next time, look alive, y'all. It's crazy out there.